Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Let's Talk Fantasy Football. I'm your host tonight. My name is Nick Walsh. I'm here with my lovely, talented, wonderful, good, cool, and awesome co-host, Vinny Gonzalez. What's up, Vinny?
What's going on, dude? It's good to have a friend this week. I really
Yeah,
appreciate it.
yeah, we hung you out to dry last week, and I know we've been bad with getting the recap podcasts up too. We all seem to have hit like a busy point in the season or in the year at the same time. So we're gonna still try and pump out the content that you guys love and deserve, or at least semi enjoy and probably deserve, because the content's semi good, and you're also only semi good listeners. All right, yeah, that's about it, man. I'm doing pretty good. Other than that, though, I'm ready to get through the two things that we came here to talk about for the entire podcast, and that's the election and pro wrestling. No, that's not true. We're going to talk about football. You want to talk about some football, dude?
Yeah, man. Week 10 to be specific. We'll be going through those games for you guys. Since we already fucked up and missed the recap, Browns versus the Ravens is on now. I doubt that affected many of your choices, but we won't be doing that game. But we will mention a few things, like I hope the Browns win and expose the Ravens for a shitty first-place team that they are claiming to be.
Yes, very much so. I think I agree with you there. But before we get into more of that, I'd like to say that we are sponsored by No Halftime. The No Halftime app isn't your typical fantasy sports service. You get to create one-on-one fantasy matchups, and you can use the code LTFF100 for a 100% deposit bonus. So as Vinny said, we are in the middle of the Browns-Ravens game right now. Hopefully you didn't have too much exposure to this game because it's 7-3 at halftime. I somehow managed in our big league to end up starting Duke Johnson and Terrence West this week. And I almost threw up when I said that. But it happens. I'm sure some of you guys streamed Joe Flacco this week because it theoretically was a good matchup. I did it in one league and I hated every second of it. And I'm kind of being shown that I definitely shouldn't have. But one thing I'd like –
good.
Yeah, no, he's not doing too good at all. The Browns are getting up 2 or more touchdowns every week, so maybe he – passing touchdowns, that is. So maybe he does something in the second half, but I don't know. If you played Seth DeValve, he got a touchdown, who I think is a fictional character because Seth DeValve sounds exactly like Safety Valve and like fucking like stereotypical like cliche spewing commentators always talk about like the white tight end as a young quarterback's safety valve, and the guy's name is literally Safety Valve and he's the white tight end. It's like I don't think he's a real person. I think like John Gruden made him, and like Jaws made him up out of like some sort of like cliche, like some sort of machine that turns cliches into real people, gives them like life and embodiment and whatnot, and just kind of spit him out there.
It's Cody Kessler's imaginary friend.
Yeah.
Seth DeValve.
Seth DeValve. Hey, give me the Safety Valve. Give me the Seth DeValve. It's unbelievable. I when I saw that, I was like, is this fucking serious? Anyway, we'll move on from Seth DeValve and stop questioning whether or not he's a real person and get into the games this week, because that's what you guys want to hear more than us bullshitting around about tight ends. All right, dude, let's start with Houston at Jacksonville. Jacksonville here is a 2-point favorite, relatively low over under of 42. On the Houston side of the ball, are you trusting their passing game at all? And by that, I mean like Hopkins, Fedorowicz. I think Fuller is kind of come and gone for the most part. Am I right there?
Yeah, I think Fuller's kind of gone. He's still battling I think it was the hamstring, so he's not fully back. And I guess the matchup is better for Fuller, though, in theory, because Jalen Ramsey's going to be on Hopkins. I would not play Hopkins. I think you can sit him, and I think it's been that way for a little bit, but I've been so focused on Hopkins' name and just like kind of hoping he would get back to it that, you know, he would make something out of those targets, but it really hasn't happened. And against Jalen Ramsey, I don't think it's the best matchup there for him.
Yeah, I don't think you really need to play Hopkins either. I don't think it's the worst play because his targets are still, for the most part, there. But this is a pretty good pass defense. The Jaguars do have good cornerbacks, and it's not even just Ramsey. Prince Amukamara has been pretty good. I'm forgetting the name of their third cornerback, but all of their cornerbacks have been pretty solid this year. So it's hard to trust that passing game. Their run defense hasn't been as good, but on the road and like coming off of an injury, do you think Lamar Miller is a guy that you're starting?
Yeah, I'd still be cool with it because at least the Texans kind of have a baseline for their star players. Like you just mentioned with Hopkins, he'll at least see at least 7+ targets, and Lamar Miller will at least see 15+ touches. So I think he's a fine start.
Yeah, I agree with that. Lamar Miller's not the best start this week, but he's going to get volume, and running back is ass, as I'm sure will be a theme that we return to many times over the next hour or so. The last question on this side is CJ Fedorowicz. He has at least 7 targets in each of his last 4 games and 2 touchdowns over that span. I think some of that may be the injury to Fuller. Do you see Fedorowicz as a viable starter?
I don't anymore. In the last weeks, I kind of did because he was seeing a lot of target volume. I think, as you just said, since Fuller's been out, he became their number 2 option in the passing game, and honestly more consistent than Hopkins. But I don't like the matchup there at all, and I think there are better plays in the tight ends pool that we'll talk about later. And the Jags actually only give up an average of 40 receiving yards to tight ends, which is crazy, and I really don't like that on the road there.
That's very.
Sorry, they're home, but yeah, I don't like that at all.
Yeah, that's very fair. I don't think it's a really great start. You may kind of be rolling with it just because I don't know. Maybe your league is a league where everyone keeps 2 tight ends. There are certainly leagues like that, but don't really go out of your way. Jaguars, Bortles is unstartable, particularly against this good defense, or at least good pass defense. But do you trust Allen Robinson after he had 7 catches for 76 yards and a touchdown? And do you trust Marquise Lee's target volume? Because he's really the number 2 target and sometimes the number 1 target in this offense now.
Yeah, and I think Lee could catch a break where he would be cool to spot start in the flex potentially because Allen Hurns is still in concussion protocol. So there's always that to like weigh on. And I think Lee could be a sneaky flex play for you if that does trend your way and Hurns is out. I think Lee will definitely see those 7+ targets during this game. But in regards to Allen Robinson, he's been a little scary, but he's been kind of coming back into it. So I think you can still roll him out. I'm sure a lot of people haven't been sitting him, and I think you can kind of just keep playing him. He's still so good, and he's Blake Bortles' number 1 option, and he'll still try to get it to him at least a few times a game. And he's just so good. He's too good to sit, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that. He's wildly talented. He's going to get the targets here. It's not a great matchup. But Robinson is one of those guys who has vastly underperformed what you would expect just based on his targets, based on, the depth of those targets, that sort of thing. And some of that is just the efficiency of him and Bortles. But I think some of that is due for a little bit of regression on the positive side in this case. We saw Chris Ivory really kind of take the lead in that backfield with 18 carries last week. That being said, he still had fewer snaps than TJ Yeldon. Yeldon had 56%, whereas Ivory only had 44%. At home against the Texans, what do you think here? Is Ivory the guy? Is Yeldon in consideration at all?
I would much rather want to play Ivory. He did pretty well on the road against the Chiefs, which was very surprising. So I guess that new OC really wanted to get him involved, at least on the early down work. So I think early on, hopefully Chris Ivory can get it going on the ground for you. And I think he's a pretty good play.
I agree. This is, again, a defense where the run defense is significantly worse than the pass defense. So it would make sense. And in a game where the Jaguars are slight favorites at home, it would make sense that Ivory would get a lot of work on the ground there. We know he can get in the end zone. We know he can run well. I think Yeldon's still potentially viable. He still did get 6 targets last week, even with, Ivory having a good game. And I think he's a low-end flex option in PPR leagues. Is there anyone else on this offense that we need to talk about?
I don't think so. What's his name? I'm totally blanking on his name, the tight end.
Julius.
Yeah, Julius. If you were playing him, I think you can look to like the tight end pool at this point.
Yeah.
The matchup against the Texans is not good at all. So
I got off Julius a while ago, and I haven't gotten back on him. And yes, the Texans have been, I believe, the number one team against tight ends this year. So don't
Hmm.
fucking start him. I'm going to take the Jags.
Yeah, yeah, I'll go Jaguars here too.
All right, Kansas City at Carolina. We've got Carolina 3-point favorite at home. Again, not a huge over under, 44 points there. The injury news is significant for Kansas City. Alex Smith, he's playing. He's back from that concussion that they didn't say was a concussion, but almost definitely was a concussion.
Yes.
Spencer Ware, he's also back from a concussion. And then Jeremy Maclin, unlikely to play with the injury last week, which definitely cost me hugely last week. That was very unfortunate. Um, that being said, Alex Smith against this bad Carolina pass defense, does that entice you even a little bit?
He's like, he's Alex Smith streamer territory in a good matchup. So that's pretty much, what you're getting. You'll probably get around 15, 18 points. So he's a low end streamer if you can't find anybody else for your team.
Yeah, I think there are definitely better ones this week, though, which we'll get into as we continue along here.
Oh, we will get into it later.
I don't even know who you're referring to that you're that excited. I know who I'm really excited about this week.
You don't know who I'm
Um,
excited for?
is it Andy?
Oh, no. Think, but don't say it out loud.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna think about it. All right.
Okay.
Anyway, so that being said, Alex Smith is missing Jeremy Maclin. Do you think that makes Kelsey a better or worse option?
You're playing Kelsey anyway, and I think he'll see an uptick in production. So there's that.
Cool, me too. Is it worth getting cute with either Chris Connery or Tyreek Hill?
Absolutely not, especially after seeing just like they spread the ball around so much, and like Albert Wilson even had a decent game last week. So Jesus Christ, I mean, one of them is going to have a decent game. I will never guess or tell you to play one of these guys.
I might like throw a little bit of Tyreek Hill or Chris Conley into daily because they're going to be cheap as hell,
Okay.
and probably low owned. But I don't know. I might not even do that. Um, And then at running back, Spencer Ware is going to be back. It's worth noting that the Chiefs' left guard, I forget his first name. His last name is Ehringer. He is out for the season now, and the splits with and without him are pretty significant. That being said, and I mean, Carolina's been great against the run this year. They've also been good at defending running backs out of the backfield in the pass game due to their very good linebacking core. So Spencer Ware feels like a guy you need to play, but I don't think it's going to really work out too well.
Yeah, those points you came up with were fantastic, but I think Ware's a guy that's going to be in most lineups this week, and you kind of just got to eat it. Like I think at worst he'll catch some passes at the very least, help you out in PPR, give a slight bump there. But yeah, like you said, Carolina's really been much better on defense as of late. Even held David Johnson to like a subpar day in fantasy as well recently. So lower expectations, but I think Ware still has to be in your lineup.
Yeah, I agree with that. On the Panthers side of the ball, I think it's easy. I think it's, Cam, Jonathan Stewart, Greg Olson, and Kelvin Benjamin. You're going to want to downgrade your expectations for Olson because the Chiefs are very good at defending the tight end and they don't give up many touchdowns to the tight end at all. But I think the rest of those guys are in pretty decent spots to have, solid if unspectacular games for you.
Yep, and Marcus Peters will be on. Well, he's on the right side, and Kelvin Benjamin lines up on the left side, I believe, most of the time. So I think he'll be off him in this case.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't really look too much into it. I just kind of assumed the Panthers would be smart enough to scheme Kelvin Benjamin off of Marcus Peters.
Yeah.
Why like I've like I
But
get
why
like
would you put him on him?
I get receivers have like a certain amount of like comfortability on like a certain side, but like it seems so obvious on teams that don't shadow or move their corners that have like one significantly better than the other that like why wouldn't you put your worst guy just constantly on him to like to just make him a non-factor the whole time. Anyway, um who you got here?
I'm going to take the Panthers. They've been much better.
Okay, I'm probably going to take them as well. Yeah, I'm going to take the Panthers. All right, Denver at New Orleans. This is an interesting one. We've got New Orleans at home. Whoa! Whoa! I just sneezed hard as hell. I should have probably muted myself for that and like told
That
Shrek
was
to edit it
nuts,
out, but
dude.
I just kind of went for it.
It was like a
I sneezed
cartoon
in nine.
sneeze.
Yeah, that was pretty wild. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say about that. But anyway, anyway, um, New Orleans is at home, and they're really good at home, but they're also playing against Denver. Denver has a very good defense, particularly in the pass game, which is where New Orleans sort of excels. That being said, New Orleans is still a 3-point favorite. The over-under is 49, so it's pretty high there. We'll start on the Denver side of the ball. I think Sanders and Thomas are incredible starts this week.
Yeah, this might. I say this every week just because they get like 10 targets a game each, but I really hope this is the game where they like both catch touchdowns and just make everybody happy. Because I really like Sanders. I like Thomas too. I think this is, obviously a great matchup for these two.
Yeah, for sure. Do you want to stream Trevor Siemian at all, or not worried there?
No. The matchup, I get it. It's just he's such a game manager. He's not bad. He's just not good.
Yeah, my choice in one league was between him and Flacco, and I went Flacco, and I was like, "Fuck, I hate this."
I probably would have too. I don't blame you for doing that at all.
Yeah, I hate playing Flacco this year. He's been so bad. Anyway, enough about him. In the run game, we've got Devontae Booker and Capri Bibbs, who John Fox has said is going to get a little bit more work than they planned in the past. What do you think about these two? What do you think about John Fox? I'm sorry, not John Fox, Gary Kubiak. What am I talking about?
Well, John Fox is also a dickhead with his running backs.
Yeah, you know what? I was looking at the situation and was like, I don't like the way the coach speak is this. It must be John Fox because he's an asshole. And we'll get to that later on in the podcast.
Oh yeah.
But what do you think about Booker and Bibbs?
I do think Booker is going to get the majority of the work, and Bibbs is pretty much only going to get or see more action because of that one play he had against the Raiders, which was fantastic. Like, I'm not taking that away from the dude, but Booker is the guy they've been trying to work in, even with CJ Anderson healthy. So they're at least going to be heavily relying on Booker in the split more so than Bibbs.
Yeah, very much so. Booker's the guy to start. Bibbs is the guy to stash, I think, and kind of see what happens. On the Saints side of the ball, if you started Mark Ingram and Tim Hightower, as Rodgers did, actually.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah, it worked out really well for you.
It was amazing.
Yeah, no, it's funny too because he texted me during the week and was like, I think I'm going to start both of them. I was like, yeah, man, like you absolutely should. San Francisco is so awful against the run. So anyway, the point is this another week that you can start both of them just because the Saints are at home, they're favorites, and you want to attack the Broncos with running backs rather than wide receivers?
I would be way less cute this week with doing that. Like, I wouldn't advise that Rodgers would do that again. I don't think they're not playing the 49ers anymore. Like, the Broncos are still a good defense overall. I mean, you do attack them through the run, as we saw that the Raiders did, and it worked very well. But I think the guy to play is Mark Ingram again. Like, when they benched him, this was what they wanted. They wanted him to be awesome again. I know they love Tim Hightower and all that shit, but I wouldn't want to play Tim Hightower again this week.
I think I'd play both.
On the same team again against the Broncos.
Yeah, I mean, you're limiting your upside, but like we saw – correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Coleman and Freeman both have huge games against the Broncos? I know Coleman did.
I mean, I think Freeman had his like typical floor game of like 8 to 10, and then Coleman went the fuck off. But like Hightower and Ingram are kind of the same running back. Like Coleman is different.
Okay,
like,
that's fair.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like they'll both get running back carries more so than like a receiving back kind of carry. Not carry, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So yeah, like you're very much limiting your upside. Obviously, the ceiling is there in theory, but I just don't like it.
Okay. Yeah, no, I get that. What about the receivers here? Because they're all kind of boom bust outside of Mike Thomas, who's been pretty consistent. What's your thinking about these three wide receivers?
I'm trying to I haven't seen anything on Talib, so I'm not entirely sure if he's going to play or be out again this week. But
He didn't practice today.
all right, so he's probably trending towards being out again.
Mhm.
So, I mean, Michael Thomas has been so fucking good. I think you play him regardless. Brandon Cooks, I think you're throwing out there for the ceiling anyway. And Willie Snead could work the middle where you want to attack the Broncos in the passing game. So I think you can play all three of these guys.
No.
I didn't expect to say that when I started my thought process, but I did just talk myself into it.
Yeah, no, I'm not on Snead at all. I think he's going to get a lot of Chris Harris, who's probably the best slot corner in the NFL. Mike Thomas, I think, is a guy you probably could start, and Cook certainly has the big play potential, but he's real boomer bust here. You probably don't have a better start than Mike Thomas. I'll say that.
Yeah, here's the thing with Chris Harris. He was out on Crabtree or Cooper during that game. So I think with Talib out, he'll be on the outside. He has no choice.
That's a good point. They did play him outside a lot more than I expected against the Raiders. So I don't know. We'll see what happens there. I'm kind of shying away. I mean, Mike Thomas at this point isn't really a guy that you're sitting unless you have a lot of depth or a really good matchup this week.
He's the best Saints wide receiver, hands down.
Oh yeah, easily. He's just wildly consistent, and he gets red zone looks that the other guys don't really get. What do you think about Breeze against this defense?
Dude, you always play Breeze all the time, especially at home.
Yeah, that's fair. I think if Talib was going to play, I would maybe consider sitting him, but that's probably being too cute.
Well, look at it this way. He put up 20 plus points against the Seahawks at home 2 weeks ago. So I think this is kind of a similar matchup against the Broncos D. So there's that.
That's a good point. Very good point. You should definitely play Breeze. I'm stupid. I'm going to take the Saints here because fuck the Broncos.
Me too, for the same reason.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about the Rams at the Jets. Oh, fuck.
Should have did this one last. This is great.
Yeah, right. Save the best for last, baby. Jets are a 2-point favorite, 40-point over-under. That is low. On the Rams side, I think Gurley's a bat. He's not going to get a lot of rushing yards. The Jets' rush defense is still very good. But he's had 4 or more targets each of the past 4 weeks. Is his passing floor enough to remain a start in a bad matchup?
It'll make you feel better, and then his typical 18 to 20 touches will also make you feel better. So at least he's out there and getting work. So I think you can still play Gurley. I wouldn't really overthink it. At this point, you're just fucking in it until the end of the season. You own Gurley, deal with it. Just he's your running back. Throw him in.
Yeah, I mean he's because of the passing work, he's actually been pretty serviceable. He hasn't been what you wanted certainly, but he's been serviceable. A guy who's been really getting a lot of work is Lance Kendricks in this offense. 29 targets over the past 3 weeks. The Rams targets have kind of been a bit like whack-a-mole-ish, where one guy will dominate him for a couple weeks and then another guy and that sort of thing. But are you buying into Lance Kendricks as a start against the Jets?
A little bit. I mean, he's a better play than CJ Fedorowicz, we were talking about before. So he's another option that you can pick up and play. He's kind of come on Fedorowicz has in the last 3 weeks. But like you said, the target distribution is not great, but tight ends suck and you can stream them.
So I have a question because I need to make this decision for myself and I want to crowdsource it. Lance Kendricks or Kyle Rudolph this week?
Oh, that sucks. Why does that suck? That's awful. Oh man. I think it's Lance Kendricks, man. I'm sorry.
Dude, I think so too. And I haven't been able to pull the trigger on it, but I think it is.
Yeah, that's one you look at everything and it says do this guy, it's better, and then you just don't. It doesn't work.
Rams tight ends and me have not gotten along real well over the years, and Lance Kendricks has been a big reason for that. Honestly, just just really taking a lot of touchdowns from Jared Cook when I've
Mhm.
started him. But that's all right. We'll move on here. What do you think about Kenny Britt? I think like he's really a good play this week.
Dude, Kenny Britt, it's always like, what is it, 70 yards or a touchdown? And I want to say at least 80% of the games this year. Kenny Britt has been very good, very consistent. So against the shitty Jets secondary, I would play Kenny Britt.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Anyone else on the Rams we need to talk about? No. Right?
Tavon?
No, I don't
No.
want to. I knew you were going to say
I
Tavon.
know. I thought you were doing that so you would make me like, hey, say Tavon. So I did, but don't play Tavon.
Yeah, yeah, don't play Tavon. All right. Jets side of the ball. The Rams' run defense has been pretty decent. What do you think about Forte?
Yeah, just I mean, he's what is he? He's like running back 4 right now. I would just roll him
Yeah, but
out,
he's so
man.
inconsistent
Yeah, but like deal
and
with it.
touchdown dependent. Yeah, I guess so.
Just deal with it.
All right, fine. Um, Brandon Marshall hasn't really been what we thought he was going to be since Decker went out. We thought he was going to really dominate the targets. Um, that being said, I think he's definitely a play here, right? There's no reason to sit him.
No, and he hasn't scored in a while or had over I think 70 yards in a very long time. So I think this will be a weird game, but I would hope that Brandon Marshall sees the end zone.
Yeah. So my suspicion is that a lot of these, like the inordinate amount of touchdowns that have gone to Matt Forte over the first half of the year, some of those are going to start going to Brandon Marshall in the second half. And I think he's going to start becoming a better and better play as he gets those touchdowns just based on what you would think would happen.
He he made an awesome catch against the Dolphins last week, and then they did the thing where they zoom in on him and he spiked the football and he just said, "Give me the fucking ball." I was like, I love Brandon Marshall.
All right, I'll take a little squeaky wheel narrative. I can work with that. What about Quincy and Nunwa?
He's been better in like I think the last 2 weeks, but I think this is a Brandon Marshall game, and I wouldn't want to get too cute with Enunwa.
Very much agreed. Marshall's going to see a lot more of EJ Gaines, who has been bad. What's his name? Is it Tremarcus?
Rams
Lamarcus Joyner. Lamarcus Joyner plays in the slot. I completely blanked on his name. Lamarcus Joyner plays basically 100% of the slot snaps for the Rams, which is where Enunwa spends most of his time. I don't think it's a good play this week.
Nah.
Who do you want to pick here?
Let's go with the Rams. Fuck the Jets.
Dude, I'm going to go Rams too because I think Fisher needs to get to 500 somehow, and this is a winnable game. All right, let's move on to Atlanta at Philadelphia. This one's fun. I like this game. Atlanta's a 2-point favorite on the road. The over-under is 50, one of two 50-point over-unders this week. I think the Falcons side of the ball is easy this week because Tevin Coleman is sort of like a could play, but maybe won't. And I think either way, he's a bad fantasy start. So I think that narrows it down to 4 guys. And let me know if you feel the same way here. Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, Devontae Freeman, and Austin Hooper.
Check.
Cool. The one guy I think we may have to convince you guys on is Hooper. He had 6 targets last week and played 75% of the snaps. Tammy is not going to play. Tight end is tough, and I will take 6 targets and 75% of the snaps, particularly against the Philadelphia team that's been a very good defense, but has been a little bit susceptible to the tight end this year.
Austin Hooper or Lance Kendricks?
I'm going to go Hooper.
I would too. I like Matt Ryan's just upside in that whole offense as opposed to the Rams offense.
Yeah, I think the touchdown equity is way higher for Austin Hooper.
Big time.
So that's pretty much the reasoning there. Talk to me about the Eagles side of the ball. I have my own thoughts, and I want to hear yours. What do you think about Wentz?
Do you want to stream him?
Yeah.
Okay. I figured you wanted to talk about that, so you could just take it away,
All right. Yeah, I picked him up in our league. Did you? I don't know if you noticed that. Um,
I did.
I'm playing him. I'm all in
Okay,
on
man.
Carson Wentz this week.
There you
And
go.
I think that, we've seen Wentz sort of, he came out hot. I remember complaining to you and Don about how after 2 weeks, the fucking morons on Good Morning Football or whatever that stupid show is called on NFL Network were saying that drafting Jared Goff ahead of Carson Wentz was like drafting Greg Oden ahead of Kevin Durant in the NBA. And I was like, it is 2 weeks into their rookie seasons. Calm down a
Oh
little bit.
yeah, they were talking about how the Browns were so stupid, like straight away.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
was like,
No,
all right, can we just relax? Like,
but anyway, since Wentz has gotten that praise, he has certainly come back down to earth. That being said, he's in a game here where Atlanta's the favorite, and Atlanta puts up points. I know the Philly defense is good. Atlanta puts up points no matter what this year. Um, so the Eagles are going to have to throw the ball a lot. Atlanta plays at a faster pace than them, so they're going to run more plays than they usually do. And it's a bad secondary, or well, it's a bad pass defense that's likely going to have Desmond Trufant out.
there you go.
Desmond Trufant's their number one cornerback. He's very, very good. He's likely going to miss the week. They were giving up a lot of points to quarterbacks to begin with, and the Eagles are going to be playing from behind. Love me some Carson Wentz. He doesn't have to be efficient. He's going to get a ton of volume.
Yeah, very well said, Walsh. The only thing there with the Eagles' offense is they're very dink and dunk, and their average depth of play is very weak. So they're going to have to break some plays, but against a shitty Falcons defense, missing Trufant, very possible. I like what you're saying.
Word up. We saw Sproles really over the past 2 weeks ascend into the number one running back role. He's got 80% of snaps both of the past 2 weeks. And, Matthews and apparently Kenyon fucking Barner are going to steal some goal line touches. But Sproles is the guy, and I think you can start him.
Yeah, keep playing Sproles. Don't be afraid of it. Like, he's at the very least a very good PPR flex play. Like, don't worry about it. Running back is ass. And Ryan Matthews, I still would not play him. He's getting very lucky on touchdowns. Please don't play him. Do you think he gets lucky and gets another touchdown this week?
So in a league where I own TJ Yeldon and Dion Lewis, I dropped Ryan Matthews this week.
There you go. I like that.
That's how
much Ryan Matthews sucks.
And weirdly enough, I dropped Ryan Matthews for Richard Matthews. So I replaced R. Matthews with R. Matthews.
No one will notice.
Yeah, right. It's like it never actually happened.
Ryan Matthews got traded to the Titans. That's all.
He also now plays wide receiver. All right. So if we like Carson Wentz, do we like J-Matt and do we like Zach Ertz?
I do like J-Matt. He has been more of what I thought he was going to be. Like, he's had, I think, 7 catches in the last couple of games, over 100 yards and a touchdown. So I do like playing Jordan Matthews. I'll roll him out there. Zach Ertz had a very okay game. Like, he did pretty well. He get 97 yards and 8 targets there. Caught all of them.
Yeah, he caught all 8 targets.
Just in a game where they're going to have to throw it, I could trust it this week, but I wouldn't, expect Ertz to be, what we were wanting him to be.
Yeah, my brain is fighting over Ertz this week because the matchup is good. He got 8 targets last week, but it was his first game with more than 4 targets since week 1. And he also caught all 8, which is like not likely to repeat itself. So I don't know. I'm having a really tough time deciding there, and I'd probably rather play Hooper or Kendrick over him, or Kendricks rather, over him.
But yeah, I think I agree.
Okay, cool. Who you got here?
I'm gonna take the Falcons.
Yeah, me too. Minnesota at Washington. We've got Washington as kind of, to me, a surprising 2.5-point favorite in a low over/under game at 42 points. This one's really disappointing for me on the Minnesota side because Washington's 31st in DVOA for run defense, which is Football Outsiders' efficiency metric. But I don't think we can play any of the Minnesota running backs. Do you disagree there, or?
I thought McKinnon was going to do good against a shitty Lions defense, and McKinnon did nothing. Asiata did nothing.
And
So
they
I
gave
don't think.
nine carries to Ronnie Hillman.
Yeah, and he was doing passing work. He was also catching passes out of the backfield too.
Love to do passes.
So like Ronnie Hillman's in the offense. It's like a three back, awful committee that we're just not believing because we want McKinnon to be something. So I would not play any of these guys, regardless of a very appealing matchup on paper.
Very much agreed. What about Stephon Diggs, who's been dominating the target share the past couple of weeks, but is also going to get matched up with Josh Norman?
I don't know if that's necessarily true. He has played 50% and 67% of his snaps in the slot over the last 2 weeks. So I think they'd be smart enough to phase them out or away from Josh Norman, unless Josh Norman's like, hey, I want to shadow this dude. So unless Norman specifies that the Redskins say that they're going to do that, I think Stephon Diggs could make it happen, especially with the target volume he's seen after Norv Turner quits, and they're just like, throw it to our best player, please. We need to do that because I don't know what's going on yet.
Yeah, right. The new guy's coming in just like, all right, play call. Throw to Diggs.
He had 10 catches for like 67 yards, something not good in terms of yardage, but caught a ton of passes, saw 14 targets. That's insane.
Yeah, he had a ton there. What about Kyle Rudolph? Only 3 targets last week, but he still got a touchdown. I mean, we talked about it a little bit before. Is he still in that tight end streamer pool for you, or?
It sucks because the Redskins are so good against the tight end until they got abused by Tyler Eifert. But like the only thing, if you want to play Kyle Rudolph, you can bank on the fact that he owns a decent amount of the target share still, despite last week. So I guess that's the one thing you would be happy about playing him. We've been talking about Hooper and Kendricks. I would probably play either of those dudes over Rudolph, though.
Yeah, definitely. On the Washington side, I want to play Jordan Reed, and that's it.
Yeah. What about Crowder?
I'm not trusting it. I don't know.
Okay, that's very fair. Obviously, Reed is the best play on the Redskins. Maybe Fat Rob, who is now the number 1 string running back.
Yeah, I guess so.
Also important to note, the Redskins beat writers are saying that Matt Jones is going to be a healthy scratch.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. I think, what's his name? Anthony Barr, the linebacker for the Vikings, I think he's going to miss with an injury. Their defense hasn't been as stout recently. I don't think I'm still in on Fat Rob, but we'll see.
Fair enough.
Who do you got in this one?
Man, I'll say the Vikings get back on track.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Vikings too, actually. We're agreeing too much on these games. I don't like it.
Did we split on one? I don't remember.
I'm not sure if we've split any of them. But all right, let's move on to Green Bay at Tennessee here. Green Bay is a 3-point favorite on the road. The over-under is 49.5, so pretty high-scoring game. Talk to me about the Packers. I know my thoughts there. Who are the guys that you're starting?
I'm going to play Aaron Rodgers. He has been getting back to his old self since they've been passing nonstop. I think I would want to play Jordy Nelson. He's been doing better. Devontae Adams, I think, is actually good now instead of thinking before. What I thought before was he was just garbage. But now he's kind of transformed into Rodgers' kind of go-to guy. Randall Cobb, I still would not play. Last week was kind of crazy. Like he missed the entire first half and then comes in and catches a touchdown.
That was so weird.
It was awful because –
and they said he wasn't going to play on Sunday morning too.
Yes. Yeah, that was the dumb thing because if you were playing against him in a league, you're just like, cool, the idiot played Randall Cobb, and then he winds up with like a decent day, and you're like, get the fuck out of here. The dude didn't play a snap in the first half.
I did that in a league, in just like a very casual league where it's just like the person left Randall Cobb in, and he played 23 snaps in the second half and got 2 catches for 14 yards and a touchdown. I was just like, fuck this. But
I still don't like Randall Cobb. I think the 2 guys I would want to play, Jordy Nelson, Devontae Adams. Ty Montgomery is a little bit strange because James Starks is supposed to be active this game. So I don't know what they're going to do. The smart thing would be to just keep doing what you're doing and play Ty Montgomery. He's been the best running back they've had regardless of Eddie Lacy's health. Like, Eddie Lacy wasn't even that great when he was playing. And Ty Montgomery has changed their offense pretty much. They're just passing a ton more, and it's just been working out way better.
Yeah, I think I'm slightly more on the start Cobb train than you are. Um, I don't know if I'm all over it, but like I wouldn't hate doing it if I needed to. I think you're dead on though with Rogers, Jordy, and Adams, and I'm pretty in on Montgomery too. I'll buy James Starks as like a guy who's going to take work like when he does it. And if Montgomery doesn't get all the run work, he's still likely to get some short passing routes. And in PPR leagues, he'll probably have a good enough floor to make it worth it. On the Tennessee side, Mariota has really turned it around where he's like been pretty solid as a starter. Are you looking to start him again this week?
I have been playing Mariota for like the last 5 weeks, and it's been awesome. And I think against a banged up Packers team, you can bank on Mariota having another at least decent day. I know Andrew Luck did pretty well against them. He didn't really go off. He threw like 2 shitty picks, but I think Mariota has always that rushing upside too, and he's been pretty good. He's like on a hot streak, so I would keep riding that. And they're at home, so that plays in like they're not playing in Lambeau, so that's working for you too.
Yeah, I like the start. Speaking of shitty picks, Joe Flacco just threw his second pick in the end zone of this game.
Oh, no way, dude. The Browns are going to fucking win. I love this.
Oh, God, I hope so. And then I think position player-wise, Murray's a little bit hurt. You're not sitting DeMarco Murray.
No.
And then Rashard Matthews has really ascended to wide receiver 1 status for Tennessee. I think you have to play him, and I think you have to play Delaney Walker.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
All right, who you got here?
Titans in the upset.
Ooh.
Boom.
All right, I'll take the Packers just so we split one. I was considering taking the Titans too to be sneaky, but you were sneaky before I could be sneaky. You underestimate the sneakiness.
Whoa.
What, right? Mr. Deeds reference on the podcast. How about it?
Nice.
All right, let's take a quick break here from our sponsor, No Halftime, and we'll be right back, you guys. Do you need to take a piss break, or are you good?
I think I am, and I'm going to grab a beer real quick.
Me too.
All right, sweet. I totally missed how the Ravens scored.
Yeah, I missed that as well. Hopefully it was Terrence West.
I'm checking that right now. Oh, are you kidding me? Daniel Waller caught a 4-yard touchdown pass from Joe Flacco.
Darren Waller. Fuck that. Yeah, it sucks. All right, we're like 40.
Yeah,
minutes.
40.
40 in. All right, we
got 20. We can do it.
Yeah, fuck it. Or if we go over, who cares?
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
All right, ready?
On your mark.
All right, guys, that was our sponsor, No Halftime. Definitely check out the app, play some games on there. It's a lot of fun. We're going to hop right back into it with Chicago at Tampa Bay. We have Chicago minus 1.5 here. The over-under is 45.5. Cutler.
Dude, yeah, this is the number one stream of the week. This is what I was talking
No,
about. It's fucking
no.
Cutler, man. It's Cutler time.
Uh,
How are you not into this?
I guess.
The fuck is wrong with you, man?
I don't know, man.
I would get more of a reaction out of Don or Matt right now than you. Jesus, I'm disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I just like,
They're the worst pass defense in the league right now.
I guess so. Yeah, you know what? You're right. He has a really good stream this week.
What the fuck is wrong with you, man?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't know what I'm thinking. Yeah, Cutler's a good play. You're right. Cutler's a good play.
He's a great play.
Fine, he's a great play. What do you think about Jordan Howard? Is he going to be the feature back again, or are they going to go back to this stupid committee where John Fox is just an asshole all the time?
Yeah, John Fox is a fucking dick. Jordan Howard had, I think, 25 touches or over 25 touches against Minnesota, and it worked. Watch it not work against a very stout Buccaneers defense, who have been great against the run, and then they turn to Kadeem Carey, Jeremy Langford, and God knows who else in that backfield. It's going to be a disaster. I would not play Jordan Howard this week.
I think I would play him. I just think there's a very good chance it doesn't work out. But running back sucks, so who knows?
Okay, fair.
In the past game, we saw Zach Miller and Jeffrey really get the targets in Cutler's first game back. I believe Miller had 10, Jeffrey had 8. Cam Meredith only had 2. Talk to me about those 3 guys and what you think.
Well, we pretty much called it. If Brian Hoyer is in, which he can't be anymore with his broken arm, Meredith is your dude. When Cutler is in, he loves Alshon Jeffrey. And apparently Zach Miller too. So I love both of those guys, especially against this shitty pass defense.
Yeah, that's fair. Part of me is holding out hope that Meredith is going to come back to it because I own him a lot, but I don't know if dude, those couple weeks where Cam Meredith was just killing it. Oh, they were so good for me.
If Hoyer was healthy, man, he still would have been, he'd probably be doing well.
Yeah. I don't want to think about that game where he got hurt. That was
a bad night for you.
I don't know if I mentioned it on the podcast. I'm going to complain about it here. In one league, I played Hoyer, Jordy, Meredith, and Alshon and got 8.8 points out of the 4 of them. I was just
on a Thursday night.
Yeah, in a PPR league on a Thursday night. It was the worst day ever. Anyway, Bucs side of the ball, I think Mike Evans is obviously a play, and then I think I'd play Peyton Barber, weirdly enough, and I think that's it on the Bucs side for me.
What if Doug Martin's active? How you feeling about Peyton Barber then?
Not good at all.
There you go.
My impression was that he was not going to be active yet, but
I think he's trending towards playing. He's
oh, really?
Yeah, limited in practice so far, and he said he feels good. We'll see how that pans out. That's
probably going to end up being a situation where they're both bad starts.
It's also good to point out that the Bears are pretty stout up front too, so it's not exactly the greatest matchup at all.
Yes. Is there anyone else in the past game besides Evans you want to play?
No, I've been on the Brait train for a while. And he really is their number 2 option in the passing game. It's just Mike Evans gets so many targets that the second option in the passing game gets 5 targets. So that's what you're looking at. Cameron Brate's good in the red zone and whatnot, but he's not going to have any crazy game for you.
Yeah, he's really touchdown dependent, so I'm not really about it as much, but I understand playing him. I'm going to take Chicago.
I'm going to take the Bucs.
All right. Miami at San Diego. We've got San Diego as a 4-point favorite. High over under 48.5. Jay Ajayi's really pissing me off, man, because he's getting the role that Lamar Miller was always supposed to have and he never got. And it's also just killing Jarvis Landry. He hasn't had double-digit targets since week 4, and it's making me mad. Jay Ajayi's you're playing, right?
Yeah, of course. It's a
What
great
about Jarvis
matchup.
Landry, though? Like, are you? I don't know, dude. I'm so upset.
Dude, I own so much Jarvis Landry that
Me
it's
too.
I should be ashamed of myself at how much Jarvis Landry I own. But all of a sudden today I was at work and then this notification popped up on my phone and it's just like, hey, what's up? Jarvis Landry's hurt. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he's just been dealing with a shoulder injury and he like missed practice already. So
Really?
yeah, him and Stills, they're both hurt. It came out today out of the fucking blue. And it's just I don't know what's gonna happen. But I would play him if he's going.
I'm heavily considering sitting him. He doesn't have high touchdown equity, and all of his targets are short, so his upside is low. And like, if he's not getting double digit targets, then his floor's gone. So what's the point of playing a guy with no upside who also doesn't have a floor anymore? Um, I don't know. It's I mean, like, I'm overreacting. Our Jarvis Landry is probably a guy that you're going to play, but like, man, I don't feel good about it. And I think if you have
No.
better options, you should use them.
Like, it's also that shitty thing where the coaching staff came out and defended like we should have got Jarvis Landry the ball more, and we need to do that. And it's just one of those things that makes you play him, even though it might not be the best circumstance.
Yep, absolutely. It sucks. The Browns are still going to lose. Steve Smith just scored a touchdown. Um,
Oof.
no one else on the Dolphins is worth playing, right?
I do not believe so.
Okay. San Diego, Melvin Gordon. Holy shit! How many fantasy points is Melvin Gordon going to have?
Probably a ton. Probably a ton. I actually saw a very interesting article on Number Fire that showed the splits of Melvin Gordon's year this year and last year, and his rushing totals are the same. Attempts are nearly the same. And the huge difference is obviously the touchdowns. So obviously you're still playing Melvin Gordon, but it was very interesting to see that he hasn't been exactly any different. Just it's crazy how you look at a player when they're getting touchdowns and scoring a lot of fantasy points when you're not looking at the numbers as a whole.
Absolutely. Though I do think his play has been better over the past couple of weeks, which
definitely,
you can sort of retrofit to the narrative that he was coming off microfracture surgery. In terms of that, like, so in that sense, it makes sense. But yes, he has an insane amount of touchdowns this year after having none last year. So the touchdown gods are smiling on him. Hunter Henry is likely to play. So if he goes, what do you think about Gates?
Sorry, I put it on mute to open up a beer. I think if they're both active, I think I don't like either of them again. I think they kind of impede on each other's value too much, and I'd rather play Lance Kendricks or Austin Hooper. Bring it full circle.
Yep. What about Inman and Williams? It doesn't look like Benjamin is going to go. I think I like both of them.
I like Williams a lot. Inman seems kind of dependent on like the big plays. Even when all three of them are healthy, it seems like Inman was the guy that would catch like a 30-yard pass, and then maybe later he'd catch another one, but that would be pretty much his day. So I like Tyrell Williams. I think he's a more full wide receiver. I think I've been saying that a lot in the podcast too.
Yeah, I like Tyrell Williams a lot as a receiver. The Miami secondary is pretty good, but it's still like they're going to get the target volume if Benjamin doesn't play. I'm going to take San Diego here.
I'm going to take the Dolphins, actually.
Interesting. I like it. San Francisco at Arizona. Arizona's a 13.5-point favorite. That's a fucking lot. The over-under is 48 points. It's looking like Carlos Hyde is going to play. I don't think I would play him just because, one, Arizona's defense is good. This game's probably going to be a blowout. And then also, like, if it is a blowout, like, why would they keep him in if he's coming off of injury?
I agree.
Do you want to play anyone on the Niners?
No, not really, man.
All right.
No.
Yeah, cool. David Johnson is the best play of the week, bar none. Am I wrong?
100%. How many yards is he going to get?
I said in our group text,
250.
I set the over under at 210 earlier this week, and I would still take the over on that. Like, there's only two situations where he doesn't eclipse 200 yards this week, and it's one, he gets hurt, or two, he's taken out because it's a blowout. So, I mean, he's the best play of the week without a doubt. And then what do you think about the passing game, Palmer and Fitz?
On paper, it looks cool, but what we're expecting is a David Johnson game, so that will limit what Palmer can do. But in the passing game, I do like Fitzgerald. I think he has a nice floor, so hopefully he has a good game in the first half while they're going to be up by a ton after that. So at least he can get some work in there. And just John Brown and J.J. Nelson, I still have yet to kind of figure out like which one I like more, and I just probably wouldn't play either of them.
I think I like JJ Nelson a little bit more, but they're both really low floor and high ceiling. So
Yeah.
it's a risk or reward play. I wouldn't do it unless you really need to. I can assume we're both taking the Cardinals.
You assume correctly.
All right, 3 more to go. Dallas at Pittsburgh. We got Pittsburgh a 2.5-point favorite. This is the other 50 over under game, or 50-point over under. This is the game I'm actually having the hardest time reading this week because I don't know. I feel like it depends a lot on who gets out early. Like if Dallas controls the pace of the game, it's going to really underperform that over under. And I was considering just putting a lot of money on the under on this game to begin with. But I don't know. What do you think here? What's going to happen?
Again, it's confusing because I think it's going to be low scoring, and I think that over is kind of crazy.
Yeah, that was my initial thought too.
I think it's going to be like a slugfest, right? Like it's going to be it's going to be a lot of Zeke, it's going to be a lot of Bell, and it's going to be a lot of 3-and-outs. That's kind of what I'm feeling.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of. I mean, I don't know about 3-and-outs, but I just think like a lot of like 10+ minute drives,
leading to field goals.
I mean, probably leading to Zeke and Le'Veon touchdowns if the world loves us. But
okay, yeah, I mean, fair enough. But
yeah, I mean,
it's very hard to read like the matchup for Dak. Like I would assume you're playing Dak. I would assume you're playing Ben Roethlisberger. Everyone's playing Elliott and Bell. Everyone's playing Dez and Antonio. I think you just kind of got to put your studs in and let it ride.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Like you're playing those guys, and I don't think you're playing anyone else. Is there any temptation to play Witten after his huge week?
Fuck no. That was his first 100-yard game since like 2000. I can't fucking talk right now. 2013.
There you go.
I would not be pumped at all to play Jason Witten.
Today, June. All right. Yes, I agree. I think you play the studs and you get on out of there because this is a hard game to read, and I don't want to try and read the tertiary plays and figure out where they're going to come from. Who you got?
I'm taking the Cowboys.
Me too, man, dude. I think they're so legit.
Yeah, they're very, very good.
All right. Sunday night game, Seattle at New England. I tried to put an empty beer down on an empty beer. Seattle at New England. New England is a 7.5-point favorite. The over-under is 49. On the Seattle side of the ball, it's real easy for me, and it's Graham, Baldwin, and Procise.
Yes. I still like
Christian. One's a little bit more controversial, I think.
Yeah.
I started it out with like the obvious ones. So you're like, yeah. And then I just threw in Procise. Like I was like, it was just going to slide in and you wouldn't notice.
Yeah. Like the gears were turning in my head and then like the wrench just fell in and it was CJ Procise. And I'm like, wait a minute. Walsh just tried to throw that in like it was fucking the obvious play. I still like Christian Michael. I really do. I think last week kind of sucked for him against the Bills. He only had a yard and a touchdown or 5 yards, something insane. So a terrible stat line. But I still do like him. I think they're going to have to run the ball to stay in this game and keep somewhat of a pace with New England here. You're just thinking they fall behind and use Procise?
Pretty much. Carroll also came out and said he wants to get Procise more involved, which it's hard to rely on coach speak.
Especially Pete Carroll. He probably wants a lot of stuff.
Yeah, Pete Carroll is the devil. He is Satan incarnate. But we'll part of it might be because I own Procise in a couple leagues because I'm so fucking desperate at running back in basically every league that I'm in that I want him to do well. But I really think they're going to fall behind, and I really think that's going to lead to Procise having some decent usage. and particularly in PPR, ending up getting into double digits this week.
Okay. Not bad.
On the Patriots side of the ball, is this a blunt game even against the very good Seattle defense?
I would say so. They're just using Blunt so much, and if you think they're going to be up like you do, he'll probably have a lot of goal line chances and a lot of work. So I do like Blunt. I don't think you can really afford to sit a guy like Blunt anymore.
No, it's tough to, at least until Lewis comes back.
Which he
And then,
might actually this game.
yeah, I wouldn't worry about it this game as much, though. I would wait until next week to really take Lewis seriously. Other than that, it's Brady, Edelman, and Gronk, and like Bennett and Hogan are kind of dart throws. Do you have anything else on that?
I wouldn't play Bennett or Hogan.
Yeah, me neither. Me neither. They certainly have upside, but it's JJ Nelson. It's JJ Nelson, John Brown, like boomer bust type stuff.
All right.
All right. I'm gonna take the Patriots.
Me too. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, last game of the week, Monday Night Hammer, baby. Cincinnati at the Giants. This one's a pick 'em. The over-under is 47 points. Tell me about Cincinnati. Who do we want to play here?
Everybody, they're the best team in the NFL.
Yeah.
Just kidding, everybody. They're really bad this year. I think Dalton's like a desperation, like kind of not flex. Jesus Christ. We need to get off this podcast as soon as possible.
Streamer.
I'm sputtering the fuck out. Yes. Dalton is a low-end streamer for me. I would play him over Alex Smith. I would not play him over Cutler. Does that make sense?
Would you play him over Carson Wentz?
I would. Sorry.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
I do.
All right, what about the running backs, Gio and Hill? What do you think?
This sucks. So the Giants defense has been pretty like improved overall and kind of hitting its stride lately. And yes. I think Hill is going to have a rough outing. Normally, you would think it would lead to a Gio game. Like, all right, we need to get someone working on the outside, get the running back passing game going. I hope it trends that way. But again, it's so hard to predict this kind of shit because they just might leave Hill in and give him 20 carries and he gets 60 yards. It's painful to watch at times when they can use Gio in the passing game. I would hope it leans Gio. I would much rather play Gio than Jeremy Hill this week.
I think I would be okay with playing both. The Giants, the Giants defense is good, but I don't know if it's enough where I'm scared of really starting both of them. So I'm okay with it, and I'm also desperate at running back a lot. So that's probably factoring into my decision.
Would you rather play Ingram and Hightower on the same team or Hill and Bernard on the same team?
Ooh, Ingram and Hightower.
Okay, that might have been a dumb question. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I don't think it was dumb. It was just for me. It was very much a one-sided answer.
I must do this instead.
Do you think Eifert's back to number one tight end?
Oh, I love Eifert. I'm so stupid. I sat him when he went off against the Skins. But, yeah, I do think he's back to form fully. They kind of just went from, 0 to 60 in a hurry with those two.
It was played 2 targets and then 12 targets.
Yeah, I think they were just we're playing the Browns, leave him out for 9 snaps and whatnot. And then they were just let's go hard in this London game and just throw it to Eifert. But, yeah, A.J. Green and Eifert, great plays, I think, every week going forward, regardless of matchup.
I think Green might, really put up a huge game this week. I'm going to be super on him in daily, I think.
Good call. I like that a lot.
All right, Giants side of the ball. Eli's a streamer, I would think.
Yeah, Bengals very hot and cold on defense, and I think the Giants have enough pieces on offense to move around where Eli can have another decent game.
Yeah, very much agreed. Victor Cruz is expected to miss this one, which makes me you play Beckham every week, but I like Shepard as well this week. I think with Cruz out, he's going to absorb some of those targets. And the Bengals defense isn't really spectacular. So I could play Sterling Shepard this week.
Yes.
Running back wise, I don't think you're playing any of them, but it's worth noting that Paul Perkins' usage keeps creeping up and up and up and up each week. And I think he might be a guy that you could stash if you have a league with a deep bench where maybe you're not too worried about one of the guys on the end of the bench.
Yeah, the Giants kind of seem ready to move on from Rashad Jennings, sorry. And they're kind of working Paul Perkins in as they go. So nice stash, like you said.
Fair enough. I think that's about it. I'm going to take the Bengals.
Me too.
Yeah, let's go Bengals this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to do it for us, guys. We went through each and every game. If you have any questions for us, hit us up on Twitter, send us an email. Do what you normally do to get some answers from us, and we'll answer them. Vinny, you got anything else for the people?
No, not really. Running back sucks. Tight end sucks. We are winding down, though. It's almost crunch time, man. Week 10.
Yeah, we're close to the playoffs, dude. It's real close.
Fuck.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that at
Nerves
all,
setting in.
but we'll see.
No.
We'll see what happens. All right, then. Well, I think that's all we got for you guys this week. That's all we got. No, that's all we got. I misspoke.
I did hear Gotch, and I immediately thought of wrestling.
Yeah, Gotch style pile drivers all over the place. Anyway, that's all we got for you. Yeah, later podcast.